A few years ago, I found myself sitting in a debate tournament, and I read something I haven't been able to get out of my head since. The world can't feed 10 billion people. Put simply, the problem is that the world's population will increase to 10 billion people by the year 2050. As things are going now, we will not be able to provide enough food for that many people. The amount of arable land is too low and actively dropping. Today, about 40% of the earth is covered in arable land. But there's a problem. Even if we secure and increase the amount of arable land, we are actively hurting the environment. Humans are putting harmful gases into the atmosphere, throwing trash into the ocean that won't dissolve for 1,000 years. We are destroying what little arable land we have left. Even though we produce a lot of food, we do not do it very efficiently. We overuse water, especially in places like sub-Saharan Africa. After years of watering, salt reaches the soil and makes once perfect soil completely infertile. This process is called salinization. We destroy the soil in other ways as well. Desertification is the process by which we take the ground cover off the ground, and the roots which were once holding the soil in place are no longer doing their job. This makes the soil loose like sand and no longer good for growing anything. The last type, just plain overuse. After so many years, the nutrition which once filled our soil is no longer there. This makes the soil no longer good for growing anything but weeds. We need to drastically increase the amount of arable land. It is estimated that we would need 2.5 million square miles. That is about the size of 2 Indias. And we only have 28 years to do it. While 2050 might seem in the far future, The Lion King premiered 28 years ago. Doesn't seem so far away now, does it? Today, more than 7.6 billion people call Earth home. And even though in the last century, we have become much more advanced and much more secure, still about 1.9 billion of us do not know where our next meal will be coming from. In the future, this will only become worse for the coming population. So, how do we prepare to feed 10 billion people tomorrow? Many teams have tried to figure this out. It is considered an impossibility, nothing short of a miracle. But new studies have proven that it is, in fact, doable and sustainable. A team at the University of Chicago has figured out a way that is healthy and sustainable. It would require a complete overhaul of our current agricultural industry. While farmers today produce a lot of food, they do not do it very efficiently. They overuse the water. And in the future, we would need to make every drop as efficient as possible. We also need to make fertilizer as efficient as possible, considering how much more land we would need. The main change comes in how we protect our plants. The herbicides, pesticides, and fungicides that tend to be chemicals. These chemicals can run off into surrounding ecosystems, killing plants and animals alike. We could introduce the viral equivalents of these fungicides, pesticides, and herbicides, but these are equally as dangerous to the surrounding ecosystems. The most efficient way is to eliminate the use of these chemicals altogether. This may be hard for some farmers, but it is in fact doable. This is all thanks to the scientific miracle that is the genetically modified organism. These organisms are resistant to pests and disease, which non-modified organisms are not. We would also have to change the way we eat. The new system would require a completely new diet. For example, meat. The way we produce meat releases a lot of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere, such as nitrous oxide, methane, and CO2. But how would we get protein if not from meat? Beans are a great example of ways we could get protein and being plant-sourced. And today, we waste close to 30% of the food we produce. Think about just how many people could be fed if that number was halved. It is one of the biggest faults of the developed world, eyes bigger than our stomachs. The next 30 years could see a devolution of the human race. Hunger, disease, and famine could make a return like the 1850s. Billions begging, hungry for the next meal. Right now, we are heading down that path. But there are critical steps we can take to stray from it. We must protect our land from overuse, salinization, and desertification. We must make the use of land, water, and fertilizer as efficient as possible. We must change the way we eat, eating much less meat and many more plants. We must also change how we buy, eliminating the high rate of waste in the contemporary world. Think now, just how can you set the world down this path? Will you plant your own garden, grow only your own crops? Will you create zero food waste? Just what will you do to save the future for your children and grandchildren? Thank you.